We all have our secret desires, those fantasies and guilty pleasures society tends to frown upon. But here's the thing, movies know. They've always known. Occasionally, a movie scene comes along that tempts, teases, and titillates us, making us hit replay more times than we care to admit. Whether it's Naomi teasing Jordan to the point where he drops to his knees in The Wolf of Wall Street, or Brad unwinding with some private fun after a long day in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, here are 20 movie moments you absolutely can't get enough of. The Last Resort and Total Recall.
So, where to?
Last resort.
Welcome to Mars. In this scene, we meet the main protagonist, Quaid, who is searching for the truth about his past. Quaid finds himself at the Last Resort, a rundown, sketchy nightclub in the heart of Venusville, a rough red light district populated by mutants. As Quaid walks up to a bartender, every lady he passes tries to entice him to their services. Quaid eventually heads to the bar. The bartender turns, gives Quaid a quick glance, and says, "What do you want?" Quaid replied, "I'm looking for Melina." The bartender responds that Melina is busy, but gestures toward a lady next to Quaid, Mary, mentioning that she is free. Mary, overhearing this, turns and clarifies, "I'm not free, but I'm available." She then flashes Quaid, and let's just say her anatomy was, unique. Quaid just stands there staring at them, speechless for a few seconds. If you thought Mary's move on Quaid was wild, just wait until you see what's next. Naomi teases Jordan Belfort in The Wolf of Wall Street. Ah yes, The Wolf of Wall Street, a movie that was in a league of its own when it came out. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort and Margot Robbie as Naomi LaPaglia, it dives into the wild world of unchecked ambition, greed, and the corrupting power of money. Mixed into all the partying and excess is Jordan's messy personal life. He's married to the stunning Naomi LaPaglia, but can't seem to stay faithful, all while battling his growing addictions. This all leads up to one of the movie's most iconic scenes, the tease, as I like to call it. In the scene, Jordan walks into Skylar's room and finds Naomi there, wearing a mini dress pulled up above her hips with little Skylar sitting between her legs. Jordan picks up Skylar, gives her a kiss, and then playfully asks, "Does Daddy get to kiss both his girls?" Naomi responds by doing this without undies.
In fact, she's decided to throw them all away. So take a good look, Daddy. You're gonna be seeing an awful lot of this around the house.
She causes Jordan to drop to his knees and crawl towards her. Then she tells him,
But no touching.
Oh, gosh.
Ow.
This movie had a lot of steamy moments, but this, in my opinion, was one of the best. Reacher protects his cellmate in Reacher. This scene in Reacher will always be a fan favorite.
Now I'll count to 3.
Do you know who you're talking to?
1, 2.
Our first look at Reacher in action comes about halfway through episode 1. A group of inmates led by JD starts picking on Paul Hubble. Reacher sits back and lets it go for a bit before finally stepping in. JD looks at him and says, "What do you want?" as Reacher gets up and stands in front of him. "To give you a choice," Reacher replies casually. "See, you're in my house, fatso, and you didn't ask permission, so you and your friends can leave now or they can carry your fat out in a bucket." JD doesn't back down, so Reacher drops him with a few quick punches to the head. To top it off, Reacher walks away wearing a pair of sunglasses he got from JD's crew. This is the moment when newcomers to Lee Child's franchise realize just how awesome Reacher is. Bad guys take note. If Reacher tells you to move, you'd better listen or you'll end up sipping through a straw for the rest of your days. This prison cell scene stands out for its simplicity. Reacher throws a few well-placed punches and effortlessly handles his attacker. It's downright satisfying to watch. Speaking of satisfaction, this next scene was far from it. Brad pleasuring himself in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This picture perfectly captures the chaos of one of the most iconic scenes in Hollywood, in my opinion. Fast Times at Ridgemont High will be forever remembered for its infamous pool scene, in which Brad, played by Judge Reinhold, is caught pleasuring himself in the pool house by Linda, played by Phoebe Cates, the very object of his affection. In the scene, Brad gets home from his shitty job at a fast food restaurant to find Linda, hanging out at their backyard pool with his sister, dressed in a ridiculous pirate costume from Captain Hookfish and Chips. And feeling bummed out after a breakup, Brad goes into the bathroom, where he imagines Linda slipping out of the pool in slow motion set to the cars moving in stereo. "Hi, Brad. You know how cute I always thought you were," she says before unhooking her bikini top and sharing a steamy kiss with him. The daydream quickly ends when Linda walks in on Brad sitting on the toilet, playing with himself. Doesn't anyone Knock anymore? Brad yells while he holds his junk. This scene will forever be goated, but what really makes it stand out is Linda's horrified reaction when she walks in on Brad taking care of himself. And just so you know, the awkward shock on Phoebe Cates' face is actually more real than you'd expect. To make Cates' reaction look genuine, Judge Reinhold reportedly brought a large sex toy to set and placed it in her sightline when she entered the room, without giving her a heads up first, of course. Shifting gears from all the teasing to something a bit more fiery. Next up we have drunk fight in Better Call Saul. Over its 6 seasons, Better Call Saul achieved what many thought was impossible. It stepped out of Breaking Bad's massive shadow and carved its own unique path. One scene that really captures this is Mike's late-night walk. In this scene, we see Mike trudging slowly, looking like a man worn out by life. And honestly, he was. He was weighed down by the grief of losing both his best friend and his son to the jobs they chose. But this time, not even drinking can numb the pain he's carrying. So what does Mike do? The only thing that might bring him some relief, finding a way to unleash his anger. That night, Mike takes a walk through a sketchy neighborhood, the kind of place most of us would avoid entirely or, at the very least, call an Uber to get through. But you can tell he's there on purpose, almost daring someone to mess with him. Sure enough, a gang of men approaches, just as he hoped. One guy demands his money and a fight breaks out. The guy gets in exactly one punch before Mike takes him down effortlessly, dislocating his arm in the process. And even that punch feels like it only landed because Mike let it happen. Better Call Saul is an awesome show overall, with a more satisfying ending than Breaking Bad. Of course, that is my opinion, but it is a solid 10 out of 10, and you should definitely give it another watch. Another scene that you should definitely take another look at is Neo dodging bullets in The Matrix. 1999 was an incredible year for movies. Blockbusters like The Phantom Menace, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, Toy Story 2, The Blair Witch Project, The Sixth Sense, and of course, The Matrix dominated the year. The Matrix had an insane amount of hype, and its marketing campaign was nothing short of genius. The trailers teased just enough to leave you full of questions, while the accompanying website dropped cryptic clues that added to the movie's overall hype. When the movie finally hit theaters, it delivered in every way. The cast was phenomenal, with Keanu Reeves leading the way. The one scene nobody seems to forget was the iconic bullet dodging moment. That scene is forever etched in cinematic history. Neo and Trinity re-enter the Matrix on a daring mission to rescue Morpheus, their commander, who has been captured and is being tortured by agents to reveal the location of Zion, the last human city in the real world. During the rescue, they find themselves in a high-stakes rooftop battle against agents and their allies. The agents, nearly indestructible within the Matrix, make the fight incredibly tense. At one point, an agent fires a barrage of bullets at Neo. Instead of panicking, Neo taps into his growing understanding of the Matrix as a simulated reality where the rules of physics can be bent. Time slows dramatically, and the audience sees the bullets slicing through the air in stunning detail. This iconic bullet time moment is described in the screenplay as the liquid realm, with the bullets moving like skipping stones across water. Neo executes an incredible backbend, his coat nearly brushing the ground as he narrowly evades the projectiles. Despite his impressive maneuver, 2 bullets graze him, one on his leg and another on his shoulder, showing that while he's growing stronger, he hasn't yet unlocked his full potential. The action isn't over though, cause this next scene is just as awesome. The train scene in The Harder They Fall. Who remembers this epic train scene from the movie? It's definitely one of my favorites. At this moment, Cherokee and Trudy step onto a train packed with wealthy passengers, and not a single black person is in sight. As they make their entrance, Cherokee makes it clear to everyone that while he personally isn't looking for trouble, both he and his crew are more than capable of bringing it if needed.
My name is Cherokee Bill. Now let it be known that I don't particularly enjoy violence. That being said, you are currently in company of extremely violent individuals. So, don't do no stupid, all right?
However, one passenger decided to play hero and confronted Cherokee. The look on Cherokee's face says it all. He's genuinely surprised, but also slightly amused. Of course, backing down from a fight isn't in Cherokee's nature, so he accepts the challenge. Cherokee mockingly assumes a boxing stance, gesturing for the man to step forward. The man charges and swings at Cherokee, but Cherokee effortlessly ducks the blow. As if rehearsed, Cherokee extends his hand behind his back. In a seamless, almost rehearsed routine, Trudy retrieves a carving knife from her bag and places it in Cherokee's hand. With lightning speed, Cherokee slashes the man's thighs and calves. The man collapses to the floor, writhing in agony. Lovely scene. 10 tenths. I would watch it again. Another interesting moment would be the scene involving Jules Winfield and the gang members in Pulp Fiction. Jules Winfield, played by Samuel L. Jackson, and Vincent Vega, played by John Travolta, are mob hitmen working for their boss, Marcellus Wallace. They're sent to retrieve a briefcase stolen by a group of small-time criminals. In one unforgettable scene, Jules walks into the apartment of Brett, one of the thieves, and starts interrogating him. Brett is terrified. He starts pleading, stammering out excuses about how he and the others had the best intentions. But Jules isn't buying it, and his calm, controlled demeanor makes the whole situation even more unsettling. Without warning, Jules pulls out his gun and shoots the other criminal, Roger, 3 times in the chest. Brett is so scared he freezes, visibly trembling but holding back tears, his fear practically oozing off the screen. Jules keeps pressing him with threats, but Brett is too stunned to respond properly. Then comes the moment that made cinematic history, the iconic interrogation questions.
What does Marcellus Wallace look like? What?
At this moment, Jules completely dropped his calm demeanor and snapped.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? What? English! Do you speak it? Yes. Then you know what I'm saying. Yes. Describe what Marcellus Wallace looks like. What? Say what again?
At this point in the interrogation, you can't help but feel a little sorry for the poor guy on the receiving end.
I dare you. I double dare you. Now say what one more goddamn time.
He's black.
Go on.
He's bald.
Does he look like a...
What?
After shooting Brett in the shoulder, Jules asks him if he reads the Bible. When Brett nervously says yes, Jules and his partner finish the job. Like Jules, the protagonist in this next scene doesn't like messing around. Leonidas kicks the Persian emissary into a pit in 300. What happens when you disrespect a Spartan king in his own kingdom? You get kicked into a pit, plain and simple. In 300, the scene where Leonidas stands his ground and sends Xerxes' emissary into the abyss is pure cinematic gold. It gives me goosebumps every time I see it. The whole sequence oozes disrespect, and it's so satisfying to watch. First, Queen Gorgo speaks up, which the emissary clearly finds insulting since she's a woman. Then, the emissary has the nerve to demand that Leonidas surrender Sparta, acting as if he's untouchable. The audacity in that moment. I absolutely love it. Of course, Leonidas didn't take the threat or disrespect lightly. While engaging with the emissary, he calmly assessed the situation and the strength of his adversaries. In one swift motion, Leonidas unsheathes his sword, holding it to the Persian's neck with a commanding presence. His Spartan guards immediately fall in line, drawing their weapons and standing ready, their loyalty and discipline on full display. Backing the emissary toward the edge, Leonidas takes a moment to glance at Gorgo, seeking her silent approval, and then...
Madness. This is Sparta!
Now, much like the Spartans, who always seem to have a flair for choosing violence, this next scene takes a page right out of their playbook. Stand up for yourself in the devil all the time. In The Devil All the Time, Arvin is bullied and mistreated by other boys at school. These bullies are not adults, but rather a group of kids who taunt and beat Arvin simply because they can, highlighting the harsh and cruel environment he grows up in. When Willard Russell, Arvin's father, learns about the bullying, he takes matters into his own hands. He believes in protecting his family and teaches Arvin a lesson about standing up for himself. Willard tracks down the bullies and delivers a brutal beating to them as a warning, showing Arvin that sometimes violence is necessary to defend oneself and correct wrongs in the world. This single act had a lasting impact on Arvin, shaping his understanding of justice and how to deal with threats in his life. Hey, stay in your seat or bed, cause the action ain't over. M16, Agent Fight in Atomic Blonde. Meet Lorraine Broughton, a no-nonsense secret agent tasked with escorting Spyglass, a Stasi defector, to safety in Cold War-era Berlin. Spyglass has committed the List to memory, a document revealing the identities of double agents, making him a high-value target for dangerous factions on all sides. The movie is a masterpiece of gritty action and sharp storytelling, with Charlize Theron delivering a stellar performance as Lorraine. Her fight scenes are raw and unapologetically brutal, showing a side of action movies that feels refreshingly real. One standout moment has to be the staircase fight. This scene is pure adrenaline, with Lorraine taking on multiple enemies in an intense, extended battle. She uses whatever she can get her hands on, guns, knives, and even a hot plate, to take down her attackers, proving her resilience and resourcefulness. It's easily one of the most memorable sequences in the film.
Третий этаж! Давай, давай!
Now, I feel like we've been focusing too much on action movies. Why don't we switch things up and take a look at some horror for a change, shall we? Up next, we have the famous Here's Johnny in The Shining. If you pick up any book on filmmaking from anywhere in the world, you'll find Stanley Kubrick mentioned not just once, but across multiple chapters. Whether it's the smallest details like breaking the 180-degree rule, or larger contributions to defining genres like science fiction and satirical comedy, Kubrick's influence is undeniable. His status as one of the greatest filmmakers in cinema history is unquestionable. One of his standout works that truly showcases his genius is The Shining. In The Shining, Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, is a writer and recovering alcoholic who takes a job as the winter caretaker of the remote Overlook Hotel, bringing his wife Wendy, Shelley Duvall, and son Danny Lloyd along. However, the hotel is haunted by dark, supernatural forces that slowly begin to drive Jack insane. As Jack succumbs to the hotel's eerie influence, he spirals into madness and attempts to murder his family, leading to one of the most chilling scenes in cinema.
Here's Johnny.
Another standout horror scene would be Patrick Bateman eliminating Paul Allen in American Psycho. In American Psycho, 2000, Christian Bale delivers a chilling performance as Patrick Bateman, a wealthy New York City investment banker who hides his psychopathic tendencies behind a facade of charm and success. One of the most unforgettable scenes in the movie occurs when Bateman lures his colleague, Paul Allen, into his apartment under the guise of continuing their friendly rivalry. Paul, unsuspecting and drunk, relaxes as Bateman carefully prepares for what's about to happen. Bateman delivers a disturbingly enthusiastic monologue about Huey Lewis and the news, specifically their song, Hip to Be Square, and before the murder, dons a clear plastic raincoat to avoid staining his clothes. As Paul sits unaware, Bateman grabs an axe and strikes him in the head, eliminating him instantly. He doesn't stop there, continuing the brutal attack while laughing maniacally as blood splatters across the room. When I first watched this scene, it was absolutely terrifying. The way Bateman moved before the attack and how he laughed during the attack was deeply unsettling. The film does an incredible job of capturing his psychotic nature, making this moment both horrifying and unforgettable. Moving on to the next frightening scene. Cole telling Malcolm that he sees dead people in The Sixth Sense. In The Sixth Sense, 1999, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, Cole Sear, Haley Joel Osment, is a young boy burdened with the terrifying ability to see and communicate with the dead. This gift isolates him, leaving him misunderstood and deeply fearful. His mother, Lynn, Toni Collette, is at a loss to understand or help him. Malcolm, the man who you see here, is introduced as a child psychologist who has been struggling with guilt after a former patient, Vincent Gray, dies by suicide in front of him. Vincent had been tormented by his ability to see ghosts, but Malcolm failed to recognize the severity of his condition at the time. When Malcolm meets Cole, he sees striking similarities between Cole's behavior and Vincent's past struggles. Believing that helping Cole could redeem him for his perceived failure with Vincent, Malcolm voluntarily starts working with Cole. Lynn, unaware of the supernatural nature of her son's troubles, doesn't question Malcolm's involvement but is desperate for any help Cole can get.
I see dead people.
In your dreams? While you're awake?
Through their sessions, Malcolm gradually earns Cole's trust, learning about his frightening ability. Cole explains that the ghosts he sees often don't realize they're dead and seek his help to resolve unfinished business. Watching this would definitely freak you out, but this next one would piss you off. David Mills eliminates John Doe in C7. In the 1995 film C7N, directed by David Fincher, detectives David Mills, Brad Pitt, and William Somerset, Morgan Freeman, investigate a series of gruesome murders committed by a serial killer known as John Doe. Mills and Somerset are tasked with unraveling a string of murders, each based on one of the 7 deadly sins: gluttony, greed, sloth, lust, and pride. After the 5th and 6th murders, John Doe unexpectedly turns himself in at the police station, covered in blood. He confesses, but reveals that 2 more murders are yet to happen to complete complete his masterpiece. He agrees to lead Mills and Somerset to the final victims if they follow his instructions. This leads up to one of the painful but unforgettable scenes. In the desolate countryside, John Doe reveals that he murdered Tracy, representing envy because he envied Mills's life. He taunts Mills into becoming the seventh sin, wrath, by killing him in a fit of rage. Despite Somerset's desperate pleas, Mills succumbs to his fury and shoots John Doe, completing the killer's twisted plan. Next up, we have Ricky getting attacked in Boys and the Hood. Ricky, along with his best friend Trey Styles, Cuba Gooding Jr., lives in a neighborhood plagued by systemic poverty, gang activity, and racial tension. Despite these challenges, Ricky remains focused on his future, hoping his athletic talent will be his ticket to a better life. However, tensions rise when Ricky and Trey have a run-in with the Crenshaw Mafia, a local gang led by Ferris, Raymond D. Turner. A minor altercation at a party earlier sets the stage for the gang to seek revenge. After visiting a convenience store, Ricky and Trey walk home, only to realize they're being followed by Ferris's gang members in a red car. Trey suggests splitting up to evade their pursuers. Ricky, who initially dismisses the danger, takes one path while Trey takes another. As Ricky stops briefly to check a lottery ticket, the gang catches up to him. One of the gang members, harboring no personal vendetta but simply acting out of reckless violence, shoots Ricky. Ricky collapses and dies in Trey's arms. Moving on. Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker brawl in Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. In Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, 1980, Luke Skywalker's duel with Darth Vader is one of the most unforgettable moments in movie history. The fight happens in the Cloud City on Bespin, in a dark and eerie chamber that sets the tone. Vader, being much stronger and more skilled, clearly has the upper hand. Luke tries his best, but is outmatched by Vader's lightsaber skills and mastery of the Force. The fight takes a dramatic turn when Vader backs Luke onto a narrow walkway. With a quick and powerful strike, Vader cuts off Luke's right hand, sending his lightsaber falling into the depths below. Luke, now injured and helpless, clings to a platform. It is at this moment that Vader delivers the shocking line, "I am your father."
I am your father.
This revelation leaves Luke stunned, as he discovers that the ruthless Sith Lord is actually Anakin Skywalker, his father. The scene is amazing. It adds emotional depth, making it one of the most iconic moments in the Star Wars series. Another iconic Hollywood moment would be Tony facing multiple attackers in Scarface. In Scarface, 1983, the climactic final scene is a chaotic and violent spectacle that underscores Tony Montana's Al Pacino downfall. Tony, at the height of his paranoia and drug addiction, holes up in his lavish Miami mansion, surrounded by his ill-gotten wealth. Unbeknownst to him, Alejandro Sosa, Paul Shinar, a powerful drug lord, has sent an army of hitmen to eliminate him after Tony sabotaged a crucial business deal. The invaders storm Tony's mansion, killing his guards and breaching his defenses. Armed with an M16 rifle fitted with a grenade launcher, Tony refuses to back down. He launches grenades at the attackers, destroying parts of the mansion and killing many of the invaders. As the attackers close in, Tony stands at the top of his grand staircase, defiantly shouting,
Okay. Do you want to play rough? Okay. No. Say hello to my little friend.
He fires a grenade that obliterates a group of attackers, temporarily halting their advance. Despite being hit by multiple bullets, Tony remains standing, fueled by rage and adrenaline. All right, enough with all the blasting and chaos. Let's shift gears to something a bit more PG-rated, shall we? E.T. elevates the bike in E.T. After discovering E.T. presence, government agents close in to capture the alien. Elliot and his friends, with E.T. help, attempt a daring escape on their bicycles. As the agents pursue them, E.T. uses his telekinetic powers to lift the boys and their bikes into the air, soaring over the agents and escaping to the safety of the forest. This iconic moment is accompanied by John Williams' soaring score, creating an unforgettable cinematic moment.
Too bumpy. We'll have to walk from here.
Who remembers this famous line, "Run, Forrest, run" in Forrest Gump? Forrest, played by Tom Hanks, is targeted by a group of bullies who hurl rocks at him while chasing him on their bikes. His physical braces, meant to correct his legs, make it hard for him to run away quickly. Jenny, Forrest's closest friend, shouts the now iconic line, "Run, Forrest, run!" This spurs him to push past his limitations. As Forrest struggles to run, something remarkable happens. His determination grows and he picks up speed. The metal braces on his legs begin to buckle under the strain, eventually breaking off completely. Freed from the restraints, Forrest runs faster than the kids can pedal their bikes, escaping the bullies. And that's a wrap. What are your favorite scenes? If you enjoyed this video, why not check out these other videos on your screen? See if you like them too.